recording our stuff. So it is now being recorded. So we're just going to start doing the analysis. Can you all see my screen? Can y'all see
Not
me?
yet.
Let's see. Turn on camera. There we go. All right. There we go. All right, let's get into it. So as always, we always do this the same way every single time. So if you ever want to do this in the future, it's always exactly the same. So we're gonna start like the hourly time frame. Um, I'm doing this as a courtesy on the higher time frames, but generally I would also use, I would use a lower time frame. But you want to use your fractal, whatever your fractal is. In this case, we're gonna use the hourly. I also want to pull up enough of my chart so that I can see not only where we are, but a little bit of where we've been, because we use where we have been immediately to predict where we think we're going to go. So then we also have a pickle tool up. We don't need, excuse me, anything but the alpha prime right now, because we're just trying to understand what the tool is, what the asset's doing, right? So that's kind of it. The next thing we do is we're always going to draw a volume profile. So I want to look at where it's been over the previous run up, and then I'm going to look at where it's been over the previous run down, right? And then that's where we can kind of illuminate where the next spot's going to be. So we can see there's a huge vacuum node here. I'm then going to identify these areas called vacuum nodes, which are voids in the profile. These are places where the price is likely to reject away from. Um, so, if we don't hold this, we've been talking a lot about this 1900 level, and this is why, because it's like this huge void in the profile. I'm going to do the same thing down here because I think this is where this next one is going to be likely down here, and then we also see one more below it. You can either draw another box or just copy it and paste it, which is what I like to do once I have one that works. So recently, these are the three voids in the profile that we want to pay attention to, and likely price will spend some time in here if it makes it down here. So what are our ranges? Well, our range is 1800 to 1900 right now, really. And then we have possibly a bounce off. So that's really the only thing we're interested in now, is using these old price to find out where the old levels are. Now we can kind of zoom in a little bit and focus on what we're doing immediately. And here I would redraw this profile, or at least investigate. At least I would draw two composites. And a composite is just a makeup of, um, a combination of them. So same thing, I'm just looking for voids, and it's following all these other voids. So you can use this composite if you want, or you can break down the section, either one. But these are going to be our target areas. So first target is here. If we start moving back up through the profile, which we have no inclination that we would do that. Why? Because look at what the pickle tool is doing, right? We were up high, we went low, we went up high, we're going low again. So we're also up very high. And when you look at this cycle, this was divergence from this peak to this peak. This was divergence on the tool. And now it's coming into cycle. So there's no reason why it wouldn't continue to the lower side still, right? So trying to get long trades in here is kind of not smart at the moment. So now that we kind of know where it is in the cycle, we know we can be looking for short trades. I would zoom in 15 minute now on gold. And then you can do another volume profile. And once again, I'm going to look at this last range and see where it was to see where it's going to go likely, right? So I'm going to do this thing right here. And I do this the same way every time. So there's been people asking for, how do I do analysis, extra analysis? Like, y'all, it's all the same. Y'all can literally do the same thing as me. I do it the same way every time. And here you can see in this old profile how we had this big void, right? And as price came into it, you saw price thicken up, but price continued to move lower, with our point of control being here at 1936. Now you'll notice we are overextended both past this one standard deviation. Here's that big void, right, in this old profile, and then it chunked up here, you can see, right? And this is why we draw those segmented sections, so that you can visualize. When you're new, it's important to be able to visualize, this is a void, and then on this next move, this void thickened up, but it still was not enough to hold it, right? And also the point of control shifted down. So what does that tell me? Well, likely point of control is going to shift down again. You can see the same thing happening here, right? Where we have a void, and then here the profile thickens up in that area. So I think, and when we look on the 15-minute, we're actually due for some sort of small correction. So how do we want to plan for that small correction? Well, that's where we can start drawing up in the nodes. So on this 15-minute chart, we can now start planning, because on the hourly, we're still a ways away. But we want to start tracking our levels to find out where are we wrong, and where can we possibly enter trades at. And that's what we're going to do here is we just highlight these vacuum nodes. And this is actual technical analysis, y'all. Y'all need to mark up the charts. You need to have some methodology, and you need to do it the same way every time, or you're just going to get mixed results. So you can go back and look at all my videos for the past years. I always do this the same way. So I'm going to highlight these nodes again. These are the important ones. I'll go ahead and draw them all in here just for brevity. Yep, here we go. So now you can see node. Okay, these are vacuum nodes. These are the areas that price is likely going to want to retrace to. So the first place I'm watching is after price comes into this range, right? And this is where we want to see if it holds. This would likely be a next level. So I want to see if price comes up here, and I want to see if price goes below here. So that's really it. That's my range, right? You can just, however you want to identify it. That is your ranges. Those are your two target areas. You're looking for. Now, I can draw a line here on my chart like this because I've already done the analysis, right? So I'm either looking for something like this where we break up, right, and then we pull back in like this. This would be my long situation where you're trying to get long, or we have our short situation. Let me see if I can change this color here. That's right. All right. Yeah, I can. Okay, red. Okay. And then where we do something like this and we go down to this next level, or we can just continue down, right? Further lower, which we've already talked about. But now we've thought about what that means. We actually don't really care about anything next until what, right? It's always going to be, I'm looking at the color bands, right? So we still have an orange band was below the purple. This is still a short position, so I don't really care about trying to enter trades right now because I'm still in short. So we've already talked about entering this trade back here actually, in previous levels when it popped up into here actually. So yeah, we're just watching these color bands, right? Orange still below purple, orange still below purple, orange still below purple, orange still below purple, until I see a purple above an orange. Then we can start to talk about a reversal. But right now, this is not showing us. We're getting these oranges consistently below the purples. So that is kind of that for gold. That's how I do the analysis. Let's go look at some other markets. Let's do US-30, Dow Jones. Okay, once again, we'll go up to the hourly. Yep, up to the hourly, and same thing. I just want to pull up enough price so that I can see what's happening now, and then similarly what's happened in the past. Now, I want to drag back a bit and see, yeah, are we at a point in history like this where you can see tons of resistance? So you want to keep note of this area right here, because top, and where are we at again? At that same place, topping, and the alpha prime is rolling over. So what do you think probably my analysis is going to say? Well, yours will probably hopefully get the same thing. And the main thing we want to do here is go back to this area, excuse me, and you need to draw your volume profile so that you can understand what the volume looked like in this range. You can go ahead and pull it out a bit further. I'll invite y'all to speak. I'm just doing my analysis though, so I'll answer questions when I'm done. Yeah, so I don't have any volume here. No volume there. That's weird. Okay. Well, I don't know why it's not giving you that, but I would mark that chart, right? You can mark these horizontal lines, and like I said, if you don't have your volume profile, you can actually cheat, and you can use the boxes. And what did I tell y'all to use? You can use the wicks, right? So you can do the same thing by using a wick like this. Usually I'll grab these indecision wicks up here at the top, and sometimes I'll just grab the whole range just like that, right? That wick to that wick, which kind of encapsulates that whole area, like this, right? So then I would pull this forward. You'll see the same thing. It acted as support all the way through, acted as support and resistance again. So that's a pretty valid level, I think. And we also have this one above it, which is a separate level. So you'll want to draw that on the 1 hour, y'all remember. And I'm just looking at price action right now and just looking at the alpha prime. So don't confuse yourself with all the other stuff. You got to do things in order, do things in steps, do things methodically, do things the same way every time. That way you can get repeatable results. And trading is all about repeatability and scalability. So you always want to be thinking about those things. Okay. So bring that one out. Dang, it's a long ways away. Sorry, it's taking a while. I wish I could just drag it out to my end. That would be cool. Okay, so we've found these levels. Okay, same. Here we go. Perfect. I'm just going to drag this one big one because it's the only one that really matters. So now we have our level above. So now we don't really need to worry about that because we know where the ceiling is. And likely, actually, this is the top here because it just rolled over, right? And then what we can do is look at the volume profile. We just want to look at where has price been, where is it likely going to go. Point of control at 33.6, like 33.7, something like that. Yeah, so we just want to pay attention where are our vacuum nodes and where are our point of control at. So same thing, like I said, same thing, just like I did on gold. We're just going to do the exact same thing for every market, every time frame. All the rules are the same. All the steps are the same. It's the same every time. Okay. Same thing, draw these vacuum nodes. And these are less important because they're so far away, right? The main ones you want to be focusing are these here. And this range here, which I would usually set this just a line to pay attention to since it's fairly shallow. Yeah. And the only way to get better at this is just do it yourself, right? So you just have to move along with me, practice, or do it yourself however you can. But just follow these same rules. So I know what my ceiling is. Our range is around this 36 area. And I know our lower level is like this 34 level. So I'm looking for range trading between these two or breakouts between these ranges. So what do I mean by breakout? I mean, if it breaks out this square, I'm looking for it to phase change. So as it breaks through these phases, right? So this would be great to drop below 34 because we get this huge phase change. Versus if we break below 34.8, this phase change is quite small. So the trading would likely be condensed. But yeah, that's just what we're looking for. We've identified that. So now I'm on the hourly. Now I can go down to the 15-minute, and we can again, start to identify what we're looking at. And I would draw the volume profile once again across this range. Just the area of the chart I'm looking at. Yeah, you can see we're trading at value, right? So we have a big void above, which is likely going to act as a ceiling. So once again, US-30 likely moving lower. And yeah, I mean, the analysis just confirms that. So where's the next target for US-30? Well, likely the next target is going to be this next void down here, just above this profile. So if we were looking to trade, we would be looking for some move. And look, you're starting to see we're getting an orange above purple, but we really want to see an orange above this purple. So I think this is actually like a kickback into this to retest, and I believe we're going to go lower. But an orange trade right now, you could look at the Delta Prime. There probably was a trade opportunity here. So let's look. Why did I fix it? Oh, it's not messed up. Okay. Okay, so let's look and enable the Delta. Yeah, look. And here is the signal to enter. It was right there, right? So this morning, actually. At around 3:30. Yeah, the signal actually came at 3:30 a.m. my time. But like I said, then you could have entered that. But no, you have to know that this is probably just a quick, you want to watch if this move continues. This is a very good entry opportunity as long as you're paying attention that this doesn't keep moving up, because you would just want to exit as soon as the DP goes to the other side, right? Just like it does here, just like it does here, just like it does here. This would be ideal. And I think we're likely getting one of these roll off moves here where we're getting this delta pull down. So that's what we're about to see, I think, on US-30. Other markets looking the same. So let's go ahead and look at S&P 500 next. SPX. Where can we go? Black Bull. And yeah, it's probably going to be fairly correlated here. And I'm going to remove the delta prime again so it doesn't get confusing, because that's not the point right now. You don't need it. Same thing, I'm going to pull up a bunch of history, right? I want to make sure not just where I'm at, but where we've been. And this is a great example because I have this big long move and we're now retracing into it. So once again, I can grab, not that one. I can grab my volume profile tool. Yep, and I can look at where we're going. I can also then grab where we are. Okay, perfect. And same thing, once again, you can see similar, but you see some areas that are thickening up, right? This is still acting as a big void, and that's the one we see that's pretty obvious right now. It's just here, and we can pull that back. Where does that correspond to? Yeah, this whole range. So we want to be weary of this range here. We can tighten that up a bit, actually. And we'll use this as the ceiling. Our next spot below is kind of where price is at. So this is likely, up against support, support, support. This is likely going to be trash trading for some time until we break, probably back below this level down here, 4325, because that would give some indication of rolling down to the bottom side. But likely look at all these little vacuum nodes, trash, 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 trash. So this is a market that, I wouldn't really be interested in, but we've defined kind of like a broad market here with our first targets and point of control down here. So that's kind of it. And the reason I say that is we're getting conflicting information. Oh, let me jump up hourly first again. Sorry. So this is conflicting information. I can see it because hourly, you see we're down, right? But technically we're completed a cycle. We're below the 20. So this profile right here, this was resistance that turned support, and now it's support. So for me, this looks like it will like hold, right? Like there's a possibility it could hold. And so that's why when we go down to the 15-minute, we get that conflicting information. And we just really, for me, I'd want to be careful. But there's probably some good opportunity here, specifically this morning, right? If the whole week decides to be up, you're essentially going to buy the bottom here. And you can get a really tight risk to reward because you'll be wrong, right? If the price moves too far against you. But if not, it's going to retrace back in this profile and retest this point of control because we're below this one standard deviation. So if that's something you're interested in, then what you can do is pull up the delta prime, and you can see you need to wait for it to cycle out. So once again, we have this orange just barely finished above the purple. And when we're really low in the cycle like this, we really want to see two oranges like this. That's going to be the more valid signal, and then wait for the delta. So right now, if we want to take this trade, we want to wait for delta to be down, and you'll see it looks like delta might extend below this range, which would put us down back to this point of control range. So this is one I wouldn't be trading, but one we can watch. Okay, next we'll go to Bitcoin. Oh, not Bitstamp. Let me go ahead and remove all my drawings so there's no bias here. Well, there would still likely be bias, but, not from previous drawings. Okay, and once again, let's start on the hourly. I'm just going to pull out a bunch of history. I just want to see not only where I'm at, but where we've been, right? So I can pull up and see, what the history looks like. I'm then going to draw the volume profile up until the peak. I just usually am taking the high point, so for me, it would probably be the middle here somewhere. You could also try to draw it back to here and then look at this profile, but it doesn't really matter actually, because ultimately your eyes are going to make the composite. The big thing you're trying to understand is, where are the huge holes at? Well, this sucker is like really going to be weighing on Bitcoin 25K right above it, right? So my guess would be we shed that 4K. And this is how Bitcoin moves, right? We know it moves in these very discrete levels. So these are my 3 levels that I think we should be watching for, to the downside, not the upside, right? And we can see uh, from the alpha prime that we are, you know, we should cycle a bit higher, but ultimately, we're pretty high in the cycle. We need to reset before we looked at getting long. But if we're getting looked at getting short, now could be a very good time because we're overextended in the cycle and we have some good targets. Now, if you look, this is the other thing that's interesting is this one standard deviation above of the previous range is now, becoming one standard deviation to the low side. So you want to watch. This is usually how you step up and the price starts growing as it finds support. It ratchets up like that. So just something to watch. But for me, I'm looking down. Yeah, so 1 hour, that's how I would do that. We have our ranges, point of control, and I only say that because we went one standard deviation, we went down, point of control, fail, 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 right? So my guess is we move lower to retest, and that's just by looking at the volume profile because you see it's pretty nice normal distribution. So now we can drop down to the 15-minute. And here you can see that conflicting information like you're getting on some of the other markets. And that just means that the market is likely at a time of shift and a time of, indecision. So there's likely going to be some choppy trading. So, yeah, that's kind of it. So that's kind of it for that. It was about 20 minutes. We went over, the majority of the markets that we trade. So I hope that was helpful. It went over my process a little bit. If you have requests, you can go ahead and put those in the, in the pro chat or in the pickle chat, the community chat, and I'll try to add those assets in when I do this next week.